Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan and welcome to the latest edition of our entertainment show here on RCB as we look at upcoming TV series debuting in Ireland and the UK this upcoming month. And this week we're going to talk about a particular sci-fi show. We already had Jessica Green, one of the stars, on premiering for season 1 back in 2018. It's come a long way now. It's on to its 4th season and it's debuting. The season 4 is debuting on Channel Syfy in the UK again here on November the 24th. 13 episodes, and we're delighted to actually be joined by another one of the stars here. We had one guest for season 1. We upped the ante. We have two guests for season 4. We have Jessica Green back with us again, Talon, and we're also joined by Anand Desai Barochia, who played Janzo. And Anand, I'm just going to call you Anand for the rest of the interview. I say it'd be the best way to go about it.
Bob's easier. Just call me Bob.
Bob. Jessica, I spoke to you back in terms of season 1, and you spoke to me about your excitement and your anticipation for this sort of TV series, and it was a bit daunting for you at the time. It was a bit into the unknown in terms of how would it go. Are you sort of shocked and amazed that we're back here? Maybe I think it was 3 to 4 years ago when I spoke to you last, and you were getting excited about the premiere, that we're back here again onto its 4th season and still going strong?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've both been just surprised about how much love and support this show's got. And I mean, especially with the sci-fi fantasy, those kind of fans, they really, when they love a show, they stick with it. And they really have through thick and thin. So it's been
the little
great.
show that could, and it keeps on, keeps on getting renewed and renewed. So yeah, we've been very grateful for it.
And I suppose 49 episodes of the TV series. You are two of the originals. You've been there from day one in terms of the TV series as such. And I suppose it's a concept delving back into that sort of Viking sort of world, that sort of medieval type sort of atmosphere where it's all witchery and mystique and spells and dark sort of magic is sort of touch. That's such a prominent sort of theme, and there's so many concepts and TV shows with that underlying. But you've been able to find a niche in the market and find your own particular fan base.
100%. And I think the big difference with Outpost is that it's original IP. It's not, it's not based on any books or anything like that. And so there's no expectation from the audience as well of what's going to happen. People don't know what's going to happen. Say, even with a lot of these other shows, they're coming from, these great novel series and things like that. Whereas our guys, Kyan and Jason and the team at Electric and Glassner as well, they've all created this entirely new IP. So I think that's what makes it slightly different from the other sci-fi, fantasy, medievals. And it's also, you need to remember, we're not just medieval, it's sci-fi, fantasy, and medieval all in one. And but we say medieval, like we definitely wear the medieval clothes, but I don't think we've ever set the world in like a specific time zone, whether we're in the past or the future. It's just a different realm. So yeah.
And I suppose, Jessica, you spoke to me about your excitement in terms of season 1, about that sort of kick-ass sort of nature about the Outpost, being able to do your own sort of stunts, be heavily involved in the choreography and the coordination of the sort of show. And that sort of rang true. You've stayed true to your philosophies and principles, and that's probably helped in terms of the longevity of the series as well, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm still loving doing all my stunts and everything. It's one of my favorite parts of the job. And I feel like, the fight scenes and everything have just got better and better from season to season. And I'm sure everyone who's watching season 4, or who's about to, they're going to see some epic fight scenes and everything.
I do all my own fight scenes. I don't do any. But if there's one thing about this girl, she learns her fight scenes so quickly. I have no idea how she does it, actually. You'll just learn it almost on the day, or even if it's just before, and it's so intricate. It's kind of like a choreographed dance, but You do it quite well. Congrats.
And this one's actually been banned from doing any stunts.
I haven't been banned from doing
Did you knock out a few teeth hands or something during rehearsal or something?
What was that?
Did you knock out a few teeth of a few stuntmen or something during rehearsal or something?
I've just never been allowed to go. I knocked myself out. I've just never been allowed to go. So I haven't been banned. I've just never done it.
That's not even a joke. He literally did, and that's why he's not allowed to anymore. He threw a bag of rocks over his shoulder.
There's a warning sign, warning, do not go near every time he comes into the set, I suppose.
Exactly. Something like that.
In terms of teams and concepts for season 4, and I suppose not giving anything away, but in terms of what sort of steps or boundaries have you explored in terms of this season 4, which is probably new to what you've done in previous years?
It's so crazy because obviously we're in the States right now, and so the entire season's already aired, so we still forget that the rest of the world outside of America still hasn't seen this new season. So I'm just trying to go back to the end of season 3. How did season 3 end? And Queen, Rosamund,
yes,
Amy Waterhouse. We lost our Queen. We'll never lose. She'll always be part of the show. But what was the question?
How different it is.
Oh, got it.
You'll see this season's very different to the last 3. There's some new characters who are very interesting, and their storylines they're big.
I think it's safe to say
they're going to change the show and put I guess heighten everything.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we definitely pushed the boundaries of sci-fi this season. Whereas before it was more fantasy, medieval. This year we definitely go into the realms of sci-fi. I remember walking into one of our sets and I was like, wait, are we on a different show? Because it was very futuristic. So yeah, I think that's the great thing that we can do when there's no set story in a book or anything like that, is that they can just create whatever they want, and nothing's wrong because it's just coming out of their own head. So yeah, it definitely pushes the boundaries of sci-fi this year.
And Anand and Jessica, I suppose 4 seasons in, we're just sort of wondering and curious, is there any sort of developments or news? Will Outpost be coming back for another season, or are you still very much unaware? Or?
So we're unaware. We know for sure. I know. So over here in America, it's coming to an end at CW. But that's kind of as much as we know. Is basically what's also been announced, is that it's ending at CW. And
but we don't know.
Who knows?
We don't know what the future holds.
If not, it's been a great 50 episodes, you know?
And in terms of Outpost and what it's done for your own careers, has it opened sort of boundaries and opportunities, and has really sort of put you on the map in terms of the sci-fi sort of universe? And
yeah, I mean, definitely. I feel like once you got 4 seasons under your belt as a series regular, it definitely opens up a lot more doors that were closed before. And yeah, it does make this whole industry a little bit easier, because it's still
tough.
It's
still tough, but I think it is still tough, but people take you more seriously, and they're like, oh wait, and so then you're looked at with legitimacy as well. So yeah, it's definitely opened up doors and helped us get to the next stage in our careers, wherever that may be.
And I suppose, Anand, and I spoke to Jessica in season 1, and she told me about filming, what it was like filming in Utah. But was doing my research, I realized that in season 2 you went to Serbia. So maybe you can sort of fill us, what was it like filming a TV series outside the States? And did you film all season 2 in Serbia?
All season 2, 3, and 4 was in Serbia. We built a whole new world there. The guys at Volcanic in Serbia built on their lot the entire outpost, but was it 2 or 3 times, maybe even more, the size of the actual outpost lot that we had in Utah. I think it was actually way bigger than
we had actual castles instead of sets like we did in Utah.
Production value was completely ramped up, which is one of the main reasons why we moved to Serbia. Personally, I love to travel, especially with work. So then when we got told, hey, so we're going to go again and we're going to go to Serbia. None of us had been to Serbia before ever in our lives. And it was just a new adventure. So yeah, I personally,
it's like a second home to us now. We've been there for so long.
Especially because with the whole COVID situation, we actually went back to work very early. We went back to work in May of last year.
I think we were second in the world.
Yeah.
To go back filming.
While the whole world was still shut down. And then we actually then ended up doing 2 seasons back to back. So we've spent so much time there. Like the last 2 years, we've pretty much been in Serbia, in Belgrade. So yeah, it's a great, fun little city.
And I suppose, Jessica, when I spoke to you in season 1, you were in France and in Paris, and you were sort of heading west. I wonder, did you make the journey further west to England and Ireland? Did you step on foot on shores on Irish side?
Oh, absolutely. Anand and I, we traveled almost every weekend.
Pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, yes.
Okay.
But when we were filming season 2, that's one of the reasons, like, I loved, being stationed in Serbia. Like every weekend we would go to London, to Paris, to
Vienna.
We had some amazing trips. We were very, very lucky.
And in terms of, I'll just probably come into our penultimate sort of question now. I know you're sort of cut for time, but in terms of your own characters, if I ask you in terms of, if you met sort of Anand, if you met Janzo walking down the street and he was coming sort of towards you, and you stopped and you had a 2-minute conversation with him and you sort of kept going, and someone asked you later, well, what did you think of that Janzo guy? And so, could you sum him up in 2 sort of sentences?
Wait, in Ireland, would you pronounce Janzo Janzo? Do you pronounce the J with a Y?
Yeah. It's just a sort of the list. Yeah.
Copy that. Because they do the same in Belgrade as well. They also say Janzo instead of Janzo. I think you are. So after you've spent 4 years with a character, you become so protective of them that if like anything that anyone says, you're like, and so I love my character, and I'm sure I think everyone really gets to love their character because you spend 4 years with them. They've really fleshed out, so you become protective of them as well. So would I love to meet Janzo on the street? Of course I would. Of course I would.
Janzo.
And same question to you, Jessica, in terms of Talon.
I'd be scared to meet Talon on the street.
I don't know if she would want to talk to me. I don't know if she would want anything to do with me, but I would love to meet her.
She'd be scary.
Yeah, let's see how I go.
And how would you sum her up as a person? What would be your instant reaction after talking to her?
Fierce, loyal.
Yeah, look at that boss. Look at that.
She's a boss, but you don't want to question her as well. It's like what you say, yeah. But maybe that's also me thinking like Janzo, because the way Janzo sees Talon is like, even though he sometimes doesn't agree with her, if she wants to do it, he'll support her and he'll figure a way out to do what she wants to do. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm looking at it from a Janzo perspective. But
yeah.
And I suppose finally, guys, for the last 30 seconds, I'm going to turn it over now to your own characters, Talon and Janzo, and they might enlighten all our audience here in Ireland why they should tune in en masse on November the 24th in terms of season 4 of The Outpost. Over to you, Janzo, and over to you, Talon.
Tune in, guys. We've got an amazing season coming up. It's full of action, full of new love.
Some people that you think are dead aren't actually dead.
Yes.
So tune in to see who actually comes back to life. So some of our beloved characters that we lost, we might be getting back. So tune in to see who that is.
Guys, an absolute pleasure talking to you there this evening. Thanks for giving your time to promote season 4 of The Outpost.
Thank you for having us.
Absolute pleasure, guys, and hopefully speak to you sometime again in the near future.